Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to Abhishek Jalan for you YouTube channel. My name is Abhishek Jalan and today we are diving into advanced capabilities of GitHub Copilot. So if you have been using Copilot and want to take your productivity to the next level, this session is definitely for you. We will cover setting up Copilot, advanced features, some real world applications, and best practices to help you write better code with AI assistance. So let's get started. So before we move to advanced concepts, let's spare a couple of minutes to talk about what is GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is an AI powered coding assistant that is developed by GitHub and OpenAI. It is designed to help developers write code faster and more efficiently. It is much more than a autocomplete tool. It learns from context, it suggests complete function and speed up development. But to truly maximize its potential, we need to understand how to use it effectively. It helps to enhance developers' productivity by streamlining documentation and code understanding. It helps to perform faster bug fixing and unit test writing, and by providing context aware code suggestions. And also, it also helps by reducing cognitive load on AI assistants. Um, Today, we are going to talk about various advanced features of GitHub Copilot, which are s- code spaces, slash commands, and workspaces. But first, let's get started with setting up Copilot for optimal performance. Although GitHub Copilot supports multiple IDEs like Visual Studio Code, NewVim, and JetBrains, but we are mainly focused on Visual Studio Code in this series. GitHub Copilot can be used in couple of ways with Visual Studio Code platform. So first approach is setting up GitHub Copilot IDE. This we have already covered in detail in part 1 of the series. I will add the link to that video in the description box and also tag the link into the I button. So if you have not already seen that video, you can go and watch that video from these two links. Now, an alternative approach to using Visual Studio IDE is GitHub Code Spaces. So these are cloud-powered development environment that allows developer to write, test, and debug the code directly in the browser or Visual Studio Code. It can set up quickly and helps team collaborate seamlessly in a pre-configured environment. It can help to speed up the development in initial phases of the projects where developers might be stuck due to unavailability of Visual Studio Code IDE on their machines. There is a small note here. All GitHub accounts can use code spaces for free for 60 hours per month with a two-core machine. So it is wise to delete the code space environment after the work is done and committed. So now let's see GitHub code spaces in action. So let's explore how we can configure GitHub code spaces for our GitHub project. So I am into my repository, Python POC. This is created for this lab. And if I go to code, here is the local tab where you can see the commands and links to clone the repository onto your local environment. Here you can see a code spaces tab. Once I click on it, there are no previous code spaces that are created. So I let me create a new code spaces on main branch. So I will click on it and yeah, and now it will open a GitHub code space environment for my GitHub project. So this is my workspace. Basically, projects whole project is called as GitHub Workspace in this context, and I only have readme.md file present in my project as of now. One thing is, suppose you are working in GitHub Code Spaces and you also have Visual Studio Code configured on your machine. You can click on these three lines here, and once you click on it, you can click here and it will open this code space environment in your Visual Studio Code, basically. Now this is reverse compatible also. So if I open my Visual Studio Code and you want to connect to GitHub Code Spaces from Visual Studio Code, basically. So what you have to do is you have to go and install Code Spaces uh, Code Spaces extension. So this is the required extension. It is already installed on my laptop. So this is already present, and if this is installed, just press the F1 key and then it open the prompt, and then I will type the code spaces here, and then I can connect to code space basically. So let me try to connect, and it is giving me my Python POC code space which we just created few minutes ago. So I can connect to it, and yeah, our code space environment is loaded. Now, if you are doing it for just for demo or learning purposes, just remember that GitHub currently only offers 60 minutes of free GitHub Code Spaces experience per month per user, and that is two core environment only. So if you are done with it, experimenting with it, just to go to this space, and basically this is github.com slash code spaces, and if I refresh it, I can see my code space that I just created, and you can see it is two core environment, so I can't create any further GitHub code space. So if I am not using it anymore, I am done with my requirements, I can just go and delete it. Thank you. Now let's explore some more advanced features of GitHub Copilot. So first one is ghost text. These are the suggestions provided by the Copilot when you start typing the code in Visual Studio Code and without providing any prompt. So Copilot generates these suggestions based on text surrounding your cursor and via open files in your Visual Studio IDE. So let's see this in practical. So let us quickly see what is a ghost text. So I'm into my Visual Studio Code, and as you can see, it is just a sample code per calculate.py. It is a Python file, but nothing is actually present into it. So let me start typing some code. So I will type something like function definition like def, and then a very basic function, and I will just open the parenthesis, and I will just put a space there, and you can also that there is a gray text. So Python is trying to interpret from our uh, function initialization that we have already done, and from the name of the function it is trying to think that we are trying to create a function that will be having two parameters as input, and it will try to add. So this is called as host text. So it is up to us if we want to accept it. I can press tab and I can accept it, or I can just keep typing as needed, and it will be excluded basically if I keep typing. And if I press tab as I just did now, it will be accepted. Thank you. So Copilot Chat allows you to have an interactive discussion using the chat feature. In Visual Studio Code, you can click the chat icon which opens the chat interface in a dedicated pane, and in this pane you can ask questions about code you are currently working on or other software related questions. So let's see that also in action. Hello. So let's see how GitHub Copilot chat works. So if you remember my from my previous video, there used to be an icon here for Copilot chat. That icon has now moved to this position. So you can click on it and it will open your Copilot chat window, and you can provide instruction to GitHub Copilot as a chat here to satisfy your needs and your demands basically. So let me see, uh, create a function for division. S- So see, it is using the reference of your open file context and it has generated the code for division. Thank you. So now, besides the dedicated chat pane, you can also use the inline chat. It allows you to interact with GitHub Copilot without leaving your code. So you can access the inline chat by using the Control plus keys on your Windows or Command plus I on your Mac laptops. One of the benefit of using the inline chat is that you don't have to switch context by going to a different pane, which can be a sort of pain sometimes for the developers. The suggestions and interactions can happen closer via using inline chat. So let's just quickly see that in action. So now let's see inline chat in action. So this is the code that we generated in our previous demo. So let me select this particular block here, and I am pressing Control and I from my keyboard as I am using a Windows laptop. So you can see that it has opened an inline chat window here, and let me put a slash here and I will select the generate option here, and then I will say generate documentation. So I've asked Copilot to generate documentation for this code block, and you can see it has generated the documentation for it, and either I can accept it or either I can rerun this particular command. So I will accept it, and you can see it has generated proper documentation here. Thank you. So slash commands within the chat pane, or when using the inline chat, you can use the slash commands. These commands allow GitHub Copilot to use a specific intent for quickly solving common development tasks. So if you type a forward slash in the chat pane or the inline chat, you should see a drop-down menu with all the available slash commands. For example, slash tests. So these slash commands help you to write test, while slash docs command is intended for writing documentation. So using a specific slash command to create a question is very good way to get better responses without having to write longer prompts. So let's see that in action. So let's see slash command in action. So as you can see, I am into my Visual Studio Code IDE, and we will explore slash commands in two ways today, via inline chat and via GitHub Copilot chat basically. So let me select this particular function and I will press Control plus I key on my keyboard, and then I will put a slash here and it will give me a list of some most popular slash command that are available to use. So I will ask Copilot to generate test cases. It is just, you can see I have selected slash test, and I will send this to GitHub Copilot and it should generate me test cases automatically for this particular function. So now my test cases are generated and it is up to me. Either I can accept this or I can rerun it. Similarly, I can use GitHub Copilot check to perform various functions into it. Let's say I select this predefined. You can also type it and it will give you the list of available slash commands for your use. So I can select explain and explain how this code works for me, and it should generate an explanation for the set of functions that are defined here. So let's see how it does. So as you can see, it is generating a proper explanation that explains this code, and this has really solved a problem, right? The first problem it solves, it helps you to work with your legacy codes in a easy manner. You can generate your explanation, anything, and you can generate that understanding quickly. Second thing, it gives a proper context to Copilot and saves you on effort for writing a very detailed prompts. Thank you. So, agents allow you to ask questions using a specific context. For example, at the rate terminal agent helps you chat with GitHub Copilot to interact with the terminal. Uh, Another agent is Workspace, which is aware of your entire workspace. It allows you to ask questions about the entire project. To use an agent, prefix your question with the agent. For example, Workspace, how can I package this project? So agent help us to provide GitHub Copilot context in virtue of which you want to ask question to GitHub Copilot. So two most popular agents are Workspace and Terminal. So let's try to use Workspace agent, and you can use it by putting at the rate symbol, and then let's put Workspace, and let me ask help to prepare. So we are asking Copilot on help to prepare deployment package in the context of Workspace. Workspace, as we have already discussed, it is the whole project. So it is helping us out. It is giving us all the steps along with the necessary instructions and command to prepare the package. So, so as you can see, it has already generated the instructions. Thank you. So now let's move ahead. So now that we have some understanding of advanced GitHub features that are available, let's discuss how Copilot can help you with your existing projects and help you with more complicated tasks. So first one is implicit prompts. It means although you can be specific in your prompts for getting GitHub Copilot guidance, you can also take advantage of features that implicitly provide a pre-crafted prompt to get a good answer. So let's see how it is done. So let's see implicit prompt in action. So I have this sample code which has an error, and we want to fix it without providing a detailed prompt to GitHub Copilot. So what I can do is I can select this particular function and I can press Control plus I button, and it will open a inline chat window, and I will just simply select the fix slash command, and I will send this particular chat to GitHub Copilot, and it will basically fix the problem. So it has suggested a fix for this particular issue. So the problem is that file.read should be called as a method with parenthesis. To fix this, add parenthesis to file.read. So I can accept this and my problem is solved. Second way is selective context. So GitHub Copilot can be customized to provide suggestions based on the context that you are working on. For example, you can ask GitHub Copilot to provide suggestions based on the entire workspace or your terminal output. So let's see how it is done. So let's see selective context in action. So I want to use workspace agent and I want to create a Docker file to package our code. So I'm using a workspace agent and I want to create a Docker file for this project. And let's see what Copilot do for us. So as you can see, it has already started generating a Docker file for us, and I can enhance that query further, and it will also package the dependencies for us. Thank you. So we have now reached the end of today's session, and I hope you found it informative and valuable for you. If you enjoyed this session and want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Abhishek Jalan for you, where I share insights on cloud technologies, on Azure, and other AI-driven tools like GitHub Copilot. You can also connect with me on my LinkedIn to stay updated on my latest content and other discussions. I will be adding these two links for my YouTube channel and my LinkedIn profile in the description box. And thanks you again for your time and your attention today. Looking forward to connecting you with all and see you in the next session. Bye.